Hi, writers. Ms. Stewart's going to work through your mini lesson with you today before you go off to write in your OneNote drafts. So, our goal today is for you to use your writer's tools to put the finishing touches on your narrative drafts. Finishing touches, polishing them up and making them the best they can be. So, take a look at the inside of this airplane, this cockpit of the airplane. Look at all of those controls and all of those things that a pilot has to do. And a pilot is one of many professionals that uses a checklist to make sure they don't forget to do anything before they take that plane with 200 passengers up in the air. Just imagine for a minute trying to fly an airplane without a checklist to go through to make sure you've done everything you were supposed to do. So many professionals, not just pilots, use checklists, and writers also use checklists. Now, I want you to pause the video for a second, and I want you to find your narrative writing checklist that you should all have at home. This is your number one tool for doing well in writing. So I'm going to wait for a second while you find that. Get your narrative checklist out, and then we'll talk about how to use it. Okay, writers, now you should be back with your narrative checklist ready to go. I want to show you. So this checklist it's kind of long, boys and girls. And so when you use this checklist to help you put your finishing touches and polish your writing, you don't want to try and tackle the whole checklist at once. You want to think about what your goals are for yourself for writing, and you want to think about some of the lessons we did, like the lead, how to start a story, our beginnings. We talked about putting transition words in. We talked about endings. We talked about, and most of you have drafts that are now broken into paragraphs with a beginning, middle, and an end. Elaboration is where we add key details and get to the arc or the heart of the story. What's the meaning? And then these are some suggestions for craft and how to improve your writing. You want to pick just one box at a time where you think you need to focus, and you want to focus just on that area one at a time. So you know that when we did the transition lessons, you weren't very focused, or you weren't paying the best attention, or you don't feel like you used all the best transition words you could to give your story flow. Then transitions might be the first thing you want to look at. Or maybe for you, it's the beginning. The day we did the beginning lesson, you were absent or you couldn't find the writing meeting, or maybe you just didn't do your best on your beginning to include the character, the problem, the setting, and you want to go back to your beginning first. The point is, writers, you only want to focus on one section at a time. Now, Ms. Stewart is not telling you that you're only going to do one section today. You're going to work through as many of these as you can until you are satisfied that your writing is the best it can be. I just want you to understand that for each section you're working on, so say you're working on your lead, you're going to go back and you're going to read that part of your story. You're going to make your revisions, and then you'll move on to another section. Say the next thing you want to look at is your paragraphs or your details, your elaboration. And that means that you're going to read through your story again and see where you need to add some more details so that your reader feels like she's there with you in the story. Don't forget, Miss Stewart told you she doesn't want to be falling asleep while she reads your story. Think about your story like a movie. And if your story was a movie trailer, would people stay on and watch the rest of your movie, or would they turn it off and pick a different movie? So you really want it to be a movie that Miss Stewart wants to continue watching while I'm reading it. Okay? All right. So now it's your turn to write. You're going to use your checklist and the notes on your draft from Mrs. Stewart and Miss Bennett to make your writing the best it can be. Writers, off you go.